Yes. For those listening, because we have actually started recording everything, for those listening, we are on a slightly new device today.
We are wireless. We are on the wireless. Sorry, I'm just cracking a can of beer. It's not, it's the Pepsi.
Pepsi.
I don't
Not
drink.
on the hard stuff quite
No.
yet. But yes, welcome to the show, and thank you for joining us again, and many more on YouTube now. We're actually, oddly enough, we have already surpassed the number of listens on YouTube for the full episodes as we do on the actual pod itself. So more people tune in to see our pretty faces than to just listen to us ramble on. I think it must be the eye candy.
It's definitely not from me, is it? You're all looking at the handsome, tall Peter Dinklage looking like over there.
Everyone's looking at the guns. That's what they're here for.
Yeah.
It's here for the gun show. Talking of gun shows, you have a very new offering in that I was made aware of when I walked into the door.
I forgot to tell you.
I shall go and
go and grab it.
We're wireless.
We're wireless.
I don't know if we mentioned it.
No more mixer, no more wires on the microphones.
Yes. So there you go, sir. You, it is
Very
your
much.
baby after all. And this is the.
Well, for those who aren't watching,
Oh.
let's see if we can, if anyone can guess what this is. That noise should kind of give it away. I'm just gonna. No. There we go. But
It was tested in dry fire before. There was nothing.
All for the screen. All for the screen.
There was never any danger.
Yeah, I saw these on the wholesalers, and it is the EMG/Golden Eagle Keltec KSG pump action shotgun. Anybody who saw or owned the original Tokyo Marui version would know that in theory they were really good. In practicality, they just weren't, which was a real shame because a lot of people loved them.
I mean, it should be pointed out, it was made famous by Mr. Wick.
Well, I was just about to say, as you pointed out to me earlier on, I have kind of got a John Wick corner going on over there now. But yeah, I'm in an R in as to whether to get one or not, and I had to put an order in for some more salvos, and I was like, do you know what? I'm going to get one because I watched another couple of reviews. There are some really good reviews out there on YouTube, and everyone said,
Yes, other channels are available.
Other channels are available. Yes. Yeah, a lot of people had said that basically what Golden Eagle had done is got one of the TM ones, looked at it and gone, well, that's rubbish, that's rubbish, and that is rubbish, so we're going to fix that. And they seem to have done a pretty good job with it.
Out of interest, do you know what the weak points were on the
there
original
was
TM?
pump lock issues, and just it didn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to. I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong. That's tracking now.
It's tracking you?
Yes, it's tracking
Why-
me.
why-
Look, I'm
Hello.
not quite sure. Hang on 2 seconds, because we don't want you tracking me. We want to see Paul too. There we go. It might be because I did a hand gesture, possibly.
I'll snuggle up to
No,
you.
you've got a real wide view, so it's probably me nearly out of you now. But yeah, I think there was a whole plethora of things that were wrong with the Tokyo Maruis, and I've probably put. God, how many did I put? The day it arrived, I put 5 or 6 shells through it, and then today I've probably put another 5 or 6 showing people, and had no issues with it. Whereas the Tokyo Maruis that I've used before, you'd be lucky if you get 4 shells through it, and then all of a sudden there's a problem.
Before something locks up.
But it's incredibly well made. It's not a huge amount of money. The retail is between $260 and $280, depending on where you go and look at them. So I'm putting them out. They're on my website at $260. Traded with Caltech and the KSG, and I like it.
Yeah, I got to say,
like it.
it's a good-looking shotgun, actually. I know. Again, it's a bullpup, which is not going to impress some of the purists, maybe. But, I mean, for Mr. Wick, it certainly did the job. And I can't see why it can't do a job for the average airsofter as well.
I think now there is one that actually works.
Yeah.
It's a far better option.
What's that?
In real life, that's the mag release. or the thingy release.
Okay, so it ejects the shells
The
real
eject
way.
shell. You can
Okay.
just press that forward and it will do it. But obviously on this one it doesn't do
It
anything.
doesn't articulate or anything.
No.
We are purely there for show. So it's tri-barrel system.
Yeah, try shot.
Oh, the barrels are really far back.
Yeah. It's actually got quite a bit of range to it.
Yeah.
In fairness.
Okay.
I was quite surprised. I mean,
Is it 3 individual hop settings like sort
it's
of
fixed hop, a bit like the.
or...
It's fixed hop like the TM Breacher and a lot of the other Golden Eagle tri-shot stuff. They have hot rubbers, but they're just at a fixed capacity. So.
Okay. Okay. Nothing to go wrong, nothing to tune, I suppose.
Yeah, not really. I mean,
What would you say it runs best on? Like a 2.5 or?
I put some 3s in it and seem to get pretty good range with those. And the thing is, with 3s, the grouping stays together quite well. I mean, you're not going to get like a teacup-sized grouping at 30 yards. They do open up, and some will move a bit quicker than others. But they did stay together quite well out to about 30, 35 yards.
Okay.
So I was quite impressed with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's half the price of
the unreliable.
Well, no,
TM
I think the TM was 350. It may have been a bit more than that. So this is quite a bit cheaper. It's on par with a TM Breacher.
Okay.
Price-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Fingers crossed, with less leaks.
Yeah.
The TM Breachers do have a habit of developing little leaks. They are really good guns, but again, the TM Breacher had pump lock issues as well. Everyone I've had and owned has had pump lock issues at some point.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Time will tell with this, but it seems far better from the off than in my experience, how they are with TM.
Is that that's the dummy loading? So just for listeners and for viewers, we have 2 loading chambers, if you like.
Yes,
within
the real gun, these were designed so you can, instead of like on a normal pump action shotgun, you have one magazine tube which comes up the centre underneath the barrel. This has 2, and you can load both of them up. And what you should be able to do is wear one down, put your hand up underneath it, flick it across, and then you're straight into the next one. Whereas with this, being airsoft, only one side, when you put a shell in there, it feeds from that. The other side is still used as a shell carrier. You can put one spare shell in there, but you still have to go through the manual of arms of taking it out and swapping the shells around.
Yeah.
So.
But they eject quite sweetly down into the chamber, so you sort of grip the gun vertically, allow them to fall in.
Yes, pretty much.
And then
although I think
finger
with the TM one, it was always a bit sticky, and I think with this being new, it's probably a bit sticky. A little squirt of silicone oil up in there.
Tracked you again.
It has. Is it because I put my hand up? Is that what it was?
Do I put my hand up and wave at it?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
Stop tracking me. Oh dear Lord!
That's looking upwards now.
No, there we go. Stay.
We're going to have to keep an eye on that.
Yes.
Can you just turn it off and depack?
It's done it again.
No, it's because I raised my hand. If you raise your hand in it...
No, because it's going to track you now. Right, I'll tell you what we're going to do, dear listeners.
Dear listeners, technical issues, new equipment.
Issues.
There you go.
What I would say is with the DJI Osmo 7P is to get rid of, if you're trying to... There we go.
Pull the tracking nodule
Pull the tracking nodule off. There we are, look.
There we go.
Perfect.
That'll do. Yeah. Where were we? I don't know. But have you ever? Because you've been out to stateside.
Yes.
Have you ever got to handle the real?
Not
one?
the real one, no. It's weird. They don't, because these are quite expensive. They don't generally tend to have them at the gun ranges, not to use anyway. I have seen one. Shooters World did have one in behind glass in the staircase, along with a Tommy gun and some other bits and pieces. So.
Would you say? I mean, obviously seeing one. Is this quite authentic in its use of the polymer sections? Is it a largely polymer front end?
Yeah, it does have a fair bit of polymer on there. I think a lot of it was designed because it was designed to be quite lightweight, because you're carrying twice as many shells as you usually would. So they did use a lot of polymer on it. However, the good thing about this is you feel up around the front end. This is all still.
Yeah, I was just going to say, is that sling hoop?
A kind of a metallurgy, Chinesium. I don't think it's steel.
No.
For a moment, but
those sling loops feel sturdy as hell.
I don't think you're going to.
No, I don't think you'd have to worry about those. Although we don't have any.
I never realised you were a fan of the KSG. To be honest, I didn't tell you.
I like unusual stuff. I think enough people know me well enough to know, while I appreciate that the M4 is arguably the best platform you can get out, I know Nasha will disagree and say it's a
don't
AK.
you'll cry.
But
Cry.
while I appreciate the M4 is or the AR-15 is the sort of best platform, I do my damnedest to avoid it because there's such a plethora of options with it and everything. So something that's backwards or slightly different, and yeah, just a little bit crazy. And the idea of a bullpup shotgun, doesn't get much crazier than that.
I was having a conversation with one of my customers today because obviously I'm not going to say I'm not out of touch with AEGs and stuff that's going on. I'm constantly looking, but because I have a deep interest in the gas blowback stuff, so I like to keep a lot of it here. Being in this kind of bubble of gas and everything else, we have been really, really spoiled with gun releases this year.
Yeah.
Airsoft gun releases. The salvos, the ghetto blasters. I know the Sega 12s were released a little while ago, but they're really hot topic. You know, a gas tri-shot shotgun, which is recoil. These coming back out in functional format. I think we've been very lucky.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's more. Like obviously, the AKM, the AKX, really ultra reliable, sort of Z plate based or Z based AKs. I think KWA now their AKs are doing the rounds and doing really well. I'm looking at possibly getting one of those in just to see what it's like. But this last 18 months for gas blowback and for weird and wonderful stuff, we've been really lucky.
Do you think, and this was something I was pondering the other day, as you do just while you're on the toilet, I was having a weird ponder and I thought to myself, obviously, you know, you still look at TM and you look at where they innovate and take things to the next level, and you've got the AKX in the nice, even just the nice little screw mount on the rear to keep the dust cover in place.
Stop it from moving around too much.
Leaves you to zero the gun. They innovate and they take things to the next level, but with the release of their technology, if you like, certainly you see it in the Nevesks and all the rest of it, the ghetto blasters, the salvos now are all using MWS compatible things. Are TM in danger of, if they don't keep innovating or taking something to the next level?
I know where you're going with this, and yes.
Everything's caught up, or everything's copying what they did originally and doing it
Tokyo Marui have two major issues at the moment, in my opinion. So if you're listening, which I very much doubt you are, but from a ground level, from boots on the ground, one, they need to innovate more. They need to release more new gas stuff. And two, stop pricing yourselves out the market.
Yes, yeah.
As of June, there is another price increase coming. And at a trade level, most MWSs are going up by £100 plus VAT.
Christ, okay.
Yes.
That's no small potato.
No, it's not. And the thing is, that is all well and good if you are the only company which runs the MWS system, because it's super reliable and everybody loves it. Problem is now, Salvo or DE, obviously they're the same company. When they're producing an MCX, which will out of the box vastly outperform a CQBR for 480 quid, when these then are going to go up to nearly £600, what are people going to buy?
Yeah.
SEMA CGS with their copy of the MWS system, yes, it's not 100% compatible. In fact, a lot of it isn't even close. But out the box, they perform incredibly well. If you're not looking to do more than change a barrel and a hot rubber, and you're happy to run the system that's currently in the gun, they are far superior to the MWS and cheaper. The Nevesque Ghetto Blaster, out the box, yeah, okay, you might need to change a hot rubber, you might need to change a nub, maybe a barrel, and they're already outperforming a gun which they're then going to be 250 quid cheaper than. Tokyo Marui are playing a dangerous game.
That's the crazy thing as well, though, isn't it? Because these days, who doesn't get their gun and instantaneously replace their hot rubber and their barrel?
The amount of people that when they buy a gun from me instantly message me and they're like, "Can you give me a quote for changing the barrel and the hot rubber and before you send it?" Well, yeah, of course, no problem at all.
Yeah.
So you're quite right.
And with this in particular, like you say, the original was flawed. Someone's come along, taken this is still
fingers crossed.
Still primarily a TM design.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. They've done their homework and they've ironed out the kinks. All roads lead to yes, they have at the moment.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've not been out for very long, so we'll see. But like I say, usually the first time I got my hands on I bought a brand new KSG, paid a lot of money for it. It broke within 3 mags. Oh, I say 3 mags, 3 shotgun shells. So within 60 rounds, it had broken and the pump locked up on it. Then it got sent back. I got the second one sent back and it broke within 30 seconds of me getting it out of the box. Pump locked up again. So everybody I know who uses gas blowbacks, who is a fan of the TMMWS system, is saying the same thing. Bring more stuff out. Bring more designs out. Do some, because if you look at like SEMA CGS and some of this lot, they are bringing out some of the retro stuff, some of the VN1s or the VN level M16s and M14. So if TM were to go, okay, well we're going to do a Vietnam special M16, everyone would be like, yeah, everyone would be like, amazing, brilliant. But they're not. They're just going, we're going to keep pushing on doing the stuff that we're doing and we're just going to charge you more for it. It's not going to work. There's other companies nipping at their heels. And my fear is it's going to happen the same way as it's going to go with the NGRS system. People are just going to stop buying it. But somebody did say to me the other day something quite interesting. It's been apparently said for a while that Tokyo Marui, outside of Asia and Japan, don't really care what they sell or who they sell it to, because that's not their target market. Their target market is within their area on home turf, which would explain why they just don't care. They're just like, well, if we lose sales, we lose sales. We're still, because they are booming at home, so they don't really need the global sales. It's just kind of poops on us a little bit, but it does open the door up for Double Eagle.
And the thing is, I mean, at the minute, well, I say at the minute, but it's not true, is it? While you look at these MWS clones, if you like, they're all being used in, salvo aside, which is not an M4 or whatever, or it is, but it isn't, but it's not, but it is. It's a SIG. They're all kept inside the same platform. The obvious difference to that is the guns modify SCAR now, which is still using similar, if slightly modified technology, still compatible with the same mags, and you're seeing it in a different body now. So how long before we range into yet other things?
I think
that this can be transplanted into.
I don't think it's going to be long, because, like I say, DE rocked out 18 months ago with the N4. 12 months later, bang, the Ghetto Blasters are out, and then a couple of months after that, we brought out these new Salvo MCXs. Salvo is DE. All within 2 years, they've rocked out with a load of MWS based stuff. It's not going to be long before other people start doing it as well, and it cross-platform. And obviously, like I say, guns modified with the SCAR. Yeah.
And interestingly enough, I've just had a thought. You say that Golden Eagle have done a grand job with the KSG. They also produce the Breacher, don't they?
Yeah.
Is that better than the original TM Breacher?
So,
Oh, a live demonstration, everyone.
now, ignore the fact that it says Secutor on there, because it is Golden Eagle.
Yeah.
That's, they just work. You don't get pump failure with them. You see these running around now, which are multiple years old, and
they're
still going. A nice, crisp. Sounds.
It sounds just
like the TM.
Yeah.
Holds gas. You haven't got to pull the bottom of the mag out each time. You literally just fill it in there, and there's a canister in there. Job done.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there is
a lot to be said.
Tokyo Marui really need to sharpen their pencil if they want to continue within the European and American markets, especially with all the tariffs now.
What we don't need is another variant of the same gun that you've made for the last 5 years, whether it be... Do you remember when it was the NGRS MP5 came out? And then it was
that was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, and then the big release the next year was the same gun but with a different stock.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, we can do better than
obviously
this.
they've just done the SIG 553. A lot of their older AEG stuff they are re-releasing with these new MOSFETs and stuff like that, and which brilliant, amazing. But there needs to be more. There needs to be more ground broken.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, I was speaking to Josh when I was at Badlands at the weekend. Tell him that is. And he was saying, I was speaking to him on the sort of front of what would be the next innovation. And he came up with a very good idea, I thought. A gyroscopic hop. If you could create a hop that would auto-level itself internally in some manner, so that, you would allow for that slight cant of your gun and it would still shoot straight, and this sort of stuff. It would allow you. It would
have been Joshua Tellum to come out with that as well, wouldn't it?
It would allow you to cant the gun and go to a 45-degree sight.
Right,
and still use it.
I have an issue with
and
that.
I actually really liked that idea.
I like the idea of it, however, I have an issue with that.
Go on.
Because I really like being able to go, that bugger is stood just behind some cover, so I'm going to aim this way a little bit, rock my gun over, and curve those BBs in behind that cover. It's one of the few little perks that we have with Airsoft, and I don't want to lose it.
Okay. So what would be the next innovation where you're concerned? Because obviously, we talk about this circular motion of how AEGs come round and then it goes into HPA and gas and all the rest of it, it goes round. But what would be the next big thing in your mind? I think to draw.
Bluetooth HPA. So no wires. No, I think I would like to see, and I know Wolverine have teased it at IWA this year, a recoil, like a Quake stock system.
Yeah.
I would like to see almost a hybrid between a HPA gun and a gas blowback, where you're not having to tap the gas mags, where there would be, essentially you could run an AEG style mag, have a line that's fed up into the gun, and have that feed a full travel bolt. So you've got all the benefits of a gas blowback, with your bolt coming backwards and forwards, but not having to have gas mags. You can just plug it into a HPA line. I think that then would be the bridge between gas and HPA. And I think you'd find a lot of people that are currently in the HPA as gay brigade and the MTW brigade, they cross over. Because you've got that felt recoil, you've got that consistency of being air fed, and it will run all year round. Because it's not susceptible to cool down like gases. You don't get that cool down effect with HPA.
Yeah.
This is why you see a lot of people, HPA tap a drum mag and slap it in an MWS because it works. It feeds really well.
Mm.
But I think they need to work out a way of HPAing the gun rather than HPAing the mag.
Yeah. No, that sounds good.
And that's just me, because
Well,
obviously
what about those stocks where they have a small HPA bottle built into the stock? I know that's not great. It gives the stock a weird look.
Yes, and this is probably like Wolverine do one. It's called the Wraith kit, which is the same thing. Tipman did it a few years ago with the Amiga. Essentially, it was just you could buy it in either in a 13 CI bottle and put that on there. Or you could run CO2 with tubes in the back with 2 CO2 tubes in it. But again, it detracts away from the bare bones of a gas blowback gun. I would like to see something like this with just a tap sitting up underneath here or coming out the bottom of the grip, which feeds the bolt system so you can use just a normal mag in it. You haven't got to carry around 80-pound gas mags. You can use a PTS EPM. Set it to 30 rounds, so you're still at your real cap limit. You've got all the benefits of a gas blowback where you've got the bolt coming backwards and forwards, you've got all that feel, but you're not having to spend 10 quid a can on gas.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the gas blowback boys would forget about the line and the tank on their back if they could have the best of both worlds.
What about if you... obviously Wolverine are going down the route of still having the HPA engine and then having this Quake system on the back. Do you think there's any... Because
there's a funny thing with
everything I've heard is it doesn't work very well.
It doesn't.
It's out of sync with the fire.
It is slightly out of sync, and what it's actually doing is it's pushing a ram into your shoulder. So it's almost like pushing the gun forward as opposed to pushing the stock back, if you know what I mean. Because once you've got that pulled in tight, it is going to push that stock back. There's a negative effect of it wanting to push the gun forward. Also, there are rumours that at IWA somebody picked that gun up and was shooting it and really pulled their shoulder into it, so it jammed up the piston and the gun jumped up in power because the gas had nowhere else to go but out.
Oh, okay, so they locked it forward.
They kind of locked it in their shoulder and then the FPS jumped right up. So, because it's basically that runs on a split system. Your airline comes up, goes into your actual solenoid and then back out into the Quake.
Yeah.
So they're a lot more air hungry as well.
Yes.
Because it's activating all of it at once. It's always been a gimmick. I think it will always stay a gimmick. There will be people that buy into it. 100%. And you'll get the boys that want to run the MTW 308, the big DMR version. For something like that, I think it's a great idea. Doesn't matter if it's air hungry because you're going out, you're probably running 4s, 4.3s, and you're not firing off thousands of rounds every game. You're going to sit in a hedge somewhere and take the odd pot shot at someone. But yeah.
What about a simulated recoil sniper? So it throws you backwards if you've got a 50 cal.
But that's another thing as well. No one's really done a recoil sniper, have they? Why not?
I suppose it goes against the sneaky situation of a sniper.
Come on,
but
someone can make one.
Do you know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see one that ejects the gas out. So if you've got that 50 cal and you're prone on the floor and you've got the big muzzle at the front, I want it to throw the gas out backwards so that it kicks the dust up around you when you and I don't care how hungry it is. I just want it to do that, and I want the whole thing. I want the links. I want the links with the recoil in barrel.
Yeah. There we go.
There we go. Make it happen, TM. If you want to stay relevant. But yeah, to my original point, like I say, I don't think there's enough innovation from TM, and all of their secrets are out of the bag now. Yeah. All of their kit. I mean, not even just the expensive stuff. You see, is it Double Bell doing a lot of like high kappa pistols? Like they've got their own copy of the gold match.
Yeah,
they've got,
of course they have. You know what? I had one, didn't I? And I brought it in.
What is that? Vorpal Bunny. They've copied the Vorpal Bunny and stuff like that and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they are in danger.
They are, and of course there's this big lawsuit thing going on about Glock at the minute with them, isn't there?
Yes, yeah. I don't think
it's
they
kind
don't
of
sound incredibly worried by
it's
that.
kind of bled over slightly into other manufacturers as well. I had some off-branded. I'm not going to go into too much detail. I had some off-branded Glocks advertised on the website, where in the pictures they had trades on them, and I got a lovely email, which was a circular email, which was basically take it down or we're going to sue you. So they're no longer on my website or being sold.
Yes.
We might need just to edit out that Glock behind you in the video.
I don't think it's visible. I think I'm large and rotund enough to block it.
But no, I mean that's kind of I think Tokyo Marui have got a lot on their plate at the moment, and my biggest gripe with them, forget the innovation, forget all that other stuff. They make such good MWS mags, and they are throttling the supply out because of all these people that are now copying the MWS system. You used to be able to pick up MWS mags, no problem at all. They were always in stock. Everyone had them. As soon as this bad boy came out, gone.
And that's intentional, you think?
Yeah, I think that's intentional. And the next delivery of those mags is due in June, I think, just after the price increases, funnily enough.
That's no coinkydink, is it?
No, it isn't. So, this is the next thing, really. I love, because obviously Lancer do their MWS style mag, SEMA do theirs, DE do a couple of types now. They do the Stanag ones, which we all know are absolute doggy doo-doo.
Let me put this back a minute.
Yep.
Which won't trouble us because we're wireless.
We're wireless.
Yeah.
But they also do a Stanag now, which is pretty good. It's still not quite as good as a TM MWS Stanag.
Yeah.
But it is good, and it seems to work okay. Then you've got like the Guns Modify P mags and stuff, which are the lovely mags. If anyone from Guns Modify is listening, please sort out the V3s with loading, because you can't use a speed loader with them, and your design, while very, very good, is still a pain in the bum. And that's the inherent problem with the P mags. Although every single gun that I've put a Guns Modify P mag in, the fit is perfection. It goes in, there's no wobble, it fits nice. You get a bit more power out of those because they've got a decent release valve in them. But you just can't load them very well with a speed loader. So, have you seen how they're supposed to be loaded? Did I show you?
No, I've not done the PMag ones. But,
Here's a Guns Modify version 3 PMag. Usually, you get a speed loader adapter, pop it over the top, and you can use the speed loader and it'll fill it up. You can do that with this for about 5 BBs, and then it doesn't want to go anymore. To load these, what you're actually supposed to do is pop this base plate, if I can get my finger in there because I've got no nail, put the base plate down to there, push, you see it starts to pull the follower down?
Yep. So you're supposed to...
The follower stays down.
Okay.
So then you fill that up with BBs and then gently slide it in.
Without them all tipping out over the top.
And then you've got this little button here, which probably shouldn't have done that because there's no BBs in there. It fires the follower up, releases the follower, and then you can, and away you go. It's too fiddly. You get BBs fall out all over the place. If you do that, then put it all back together and try and speed load them in there, yes, they will go in, but they don't stack up properly, and you're only getting 28 BBs in what's supposed to be 35 round mags. But they do perform so much better than everything else. So we need, going back to the original point, we need somebody to make a direct clone of the TM MWS mag and make it well. But yeah, a little bit of trivia for you, or knowledge for you on that. I have all these different styles of mags now. It's great.
But you still think the
standard TM MWS mag, they're heavy, but they're just built so well. And they just work. They're just a pain to get hold of. I have a few in stock. I don't advertise them on the website because I prefer to have them here. So if someone does happen to walk in and buy a gun, I've got some NWS mags here that I can sell with them. Because I know for a fact if I put these online, they'd be gone within a few hours. And I've then got nothing to offer my customers that want to buy my stuff. So, and this is all because of Tokyo Marui.
Yes.
It's a nightmare.
Talking of innovation, though, let's talk accessories and someone who can't be accused of not innovating, really, and that's Mr. Novrich.
Yes.
I have a very noisy chair this week. I don't know if you can hear it.
Yeah, it might be because I sat on it and I've just loosened everything up.
Yes, he's brought out yet another innovation, sort of, ish, in a target system.
Yeah.
Which is not quite attack sense.
It's like attack sense from Wish.
Yes, Timu sense.
Timu
targets.
A Timu sense.
Mm.
There we go. It's clever. It's clever. I don't think it's a competition-based targeting system like attack sense is.
No.
I think it's more of a personal training and development kind of. Put a few of them in your house, run around, pretending you're John Wick, and
doing some drills.
I mean, you put me onto the video. We quickly watched it before we started recording. Patrol base put up of this system. It's very clever. I mean, you can tell it's made to a budget, which is fine. It's not a problem. The fact that the targets run on AAA batteries rather than lipos like attack sense do. But then again, it's not trying to be attack sense. It's trying to find the right word for it because it's a laser based system as opposed to attack sense where you have to fire at the targets and it senses the impact on the target. It's a safe system to use in your house, in your garden. You can let your kids have a go at it. You don't.
The dogs can be loose in the house.
Yeah, that's it. You don't have. Dare I say it? And I'll probably get shot down for it. You don't have to wear eye protection because it's just a laser system and you're essentially dry firing your gun.
Yeah. And look, there is, with that dry fire system, obviously, he actually produces and provides a bung for your barrel.
Yes.
And the end of the nozzle, so that when you're dry firing, you're not
slamming
no back pressure.
Yeah, you're getting the back pressure there. So
even if you did have a stray BB still in your hot chamber when you first fired it, the likelihood is it's going to impact that nozzle first and not actually come out into the room.
I can't say anything because I've on more than one occasion, and I should know better, man. I should know better, but you're working on a gun, someone brings a gun in for a repair or something like that, and there's no mag in it, and you stick a battery in there and go, oh, bloody hell's wrong with this? Like, and you always point it in a safe direction, but you fire it, and oh look, there was a BB in there. There is a dent in my garage door.
Oh, from such an excursion.
Yeah, it happened.
I see it.
Yes.
I see it.
It happened literally 3 days after the garage door was fitted.
Fabulous.
After the roller door was fitted.
Was there copious swearing involved?
No, I just nearly cried. I spent all that money on an electric secure door and I shoot it. But this is what I mean. You can never be 100% with it. You just don't know, especially when it's a rental gun that comes in. But yeah, like you say, obviously this buffer, this plug, is threaded for 14mm counterclockwise. It's got a small hole in the middle of it, much smaller than a BB, by the looks of things. You screw it onto the end of the barrel and it creates back pressure, so that when you're firing that gun, your piston isn't slamming into the piston head and smashing against the front of the gearbox all the time. It does slow it down a little bit to basically acts as if there was a BB in there.
Yeah.
Very clever. Again, great that he's thought about that. I think that's really smart. Will it work? But yeah. I did have a quick look, didn't I? I went and looked onto the wholesalers and I was like, oh, is it available yet? Let's just try and find out what the price is. It's not available to me yet on the wholesalers, but I will probably order one of those sets.
Yeah. I think, you know, it's going to have a place in the market. There's going to be people who want to, if you're a fan of T-Rex arms and all of his drills and
Yes.
time drills and all the rest of it, it does provide you with that facility, because there's a couple of different options, isn't there? Well, there's two.
Yeah.
Which is the sort of automated drill, if you like, where you've got 3 sensors or 3 targets that light up randomly and you shoot at them.
Yeah.
And they are random, apparently.
Yeah, they're not
you can't-
timed. There's
you
no
can't-
feedback from them. You've just
Yeah.
got to turn the lights off.
Yeah. And then there's one which is very similar, but it provides you with a stopwatch between shooting. So
Yeah, it's got a couple of different shooting modes, isn't it? It's got shoot to set,
Yep.
which you stick it in that mode, you shoot it, it starts the timer running. So essentially, once you've taken that first shot, you then do a mag reload and shoot it again. It gives you
transition to
your
your
split.
sidearm or whatever.
Yeah, that's it. It gives you your split times between each.
Mhm.
And then you've got another one which is a delayed mode, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
you shoot it, it counts down, and then the light comes on and you've got to shoot it again. So that's almost like a timed. Or what you could do is you could shoot it, run off, shoot your other targets in the rooms, clear the other rooms, come back, shoot that one again, and it gives you.
Your split time.
It'll give you the overall time.
A fun game for all the family.
I think-
if you had your children and your significant other and all the rest of it, and
if you were
better than playing Monopoly.
if you are running an airsoft range, because
Mhm.
there's a few of them around now.
Mhm.
Obviously, we've got BR Airsoft to do their range. Dead on Target is one of my customers. He's got a mobile range which takes to the county fairs and stuff like that. Kono Sport and Leisure have just bought a load of bits off of me to do a range. If they were ever going into a sensitive area where people didn't want BBs being fired, I would say this is a viable alternative.
Well, you could take it to, well, we've had things like Geek Fest and stuff
Yeah.
like that down in Cornwall and everything else, all these sort of, just any sort of local fairs and stuff. You could, the only slight concern, and you brought this up when you watched the video, is being laser driven, is it going to work properly in a very sunny environment? Is it going to need to be indoors? Is it going to need to be undercover?
This
To a
is my
degree.
concern because obviously they're using a red laser.
Mm-hmm.
If they were using a green laser, it wouldn't fuss me. If they were using a blue laser, it wouldn't fuss me out because those two work much better in bright environments. But a red laser can be sun bleached.
Mm-hmm.
So I think time will tell with that. Will they possibly change it over to a low power green laser, or whether the classification ratings will allow that? Because obviously green lasers are generally much stronger. You don't want to get shot in the eye with a green laser or a blue laser. So I don't know. That's my only caveat to it is, will it work in really sunny conditions? But then again, a lot of these ranges are in a dark tent.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I think that will appeal. I mean, certainly, again, if you're, for example, and sorry, let's backtrack before we make this point. They're audio driven and slightly vibration sensitive. So it essentially knows you're firing the gun when it picks up on the sound of the gearbox or the bolt or whatever it may be.
if you think about electric drum mags, auto winding drum mags, or sound control, should we say, sound control drum mags, like on the M249s and like that SEMA drum mag thing I've got there, it picks up the noise of the gearbox working, and that then drives the drum mag. Same principle. So if you've got this laser unit and you put it on the front, it needs to hear that gearbox cycling and the crack of the gun going off every time it's fired to fire that laser off. You couldn't put that on an MTW and use it. Just wouldn't work. Just too quiet.
Yeah.
They did say in the patrol-based video, which I found a little bit amusing, they were just finished talking about the screw-on cap to help with the compression and back pressure, and then they were like, if you've got a really quiet gun, stick a sound hog on there, and it should then pick it up. Well, then you are literally dry firing because there's no back pressure, so that's not going to do your gun any good. Small amounts, I'm sure it'd be absolutely fine. But if you were using it time after time after time after time, it's going to cause damage.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, it's not a perfect system, but it's very good.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm going to order one.
I think you could take something like that, you know, even for yourself or any other sort of retailer or anything like that. It would be a good demonstration tool to have when you go off site, and people can then dry fire the gun without fear or risk of overly damaging anything. They can get a sense of what it feels like if it's a GBBR, what it feels like to fire it, and weapon manipulation and this kind of thing. I think it's another good idea on the back of several good ideas that he's had. You know, we talked about in previous shows. He's now bringing out this SX. I want to say it's the SSX-10, which is the HPA
the dual fuel sniper rifle.
Yeah.
Which brilliant.
Again,
he's actually stepping away from the zone of. I mean, and he's already done it, because you can already buy pouches and ghillie suits and all these other bits and pieces. He's stepping away from just pre-upgrading guns and selling them out the door, which is, for the consumer, is brilliant. It is brilliant, and actually, it's not that expensive. When you look at some of his stuff, I would say the vast majority of his stuff is under 500 quid.
Yeah.
But you're getting a really well performing gun.
Out of the box.
Out the box. Yeah, some of them have issues. It's the warranty he offers as well, though, because I've had a couple of SS4s recently which have come through into me with cracked gearboxes. She cracked the front of the gearbox. One of those people had bought the gun new. They were the first owner of it. They'd used it for 12 months. Gearbox was cracked. Contacted Novrich. Novrich sent them a brand new gearbox. Then complete, not just the gearbox casing, just have a brand new gearbox. The other guy, he was like the second owner. I think he bought it second hand. Same issue. Contacted them. They were like, okay, no worries. Sent him a brand new gearbox.
Can't argue with that, can you?
No, you can't.
You know,
but
when we're talking about in the
off
same
the back
breath
of that, if you also remember, when he did the SSX-23, so the Mark 23, there was feeding issues with the early models, and he basically told everybody that bought them and was having problems, you're pulling the trigger wrong.
Okay.
And did a whole video on this is how you should pull the trigger to get your gun to feed. Slowly and assertively, and it's like, no, dude. You have a problem, probably best to try and sort it out. Yeah, it's
not
AI 500 all over again. Actually, while we are, I name dropped that for a reason, to be fair. Okay. I'm not going to retract what I said, because everything I said was true. However, the part I said in our AI 500 chat about the chrono the day before, there was a lot of different people that use those chronos to try and get people through, and I was approached by one of those people who said, listen to the podcast, we agree with everything you said, however, when we were chronoing, we were changing the weights, regardless of what we'd been told, we were changing the weights. However, they were only chronoing for a very short period of time, and they cannot speak for the other people who they know were just reading the FPS limits and not saying anything else. Yeah. So I'm not retracting anything, but I'd just like to apologise to those people that were involved and were doing it. I was not aware of that. I have been made aware of that, and I will eat a little bit of humble pie and say, fair play.
I hear what you're saying. On another tangent to that, since we put up that video, I've had quite a few interesting communiques from different people who have listened to the podcast or listened to the little videos we've put out and that kind of thing, and back everything you say up, but not just about our event. They've come forward about previous events. I think it was Rochdale and this kind of thing, where chronoing was basically non-existent from what I can gather. And yeah, you know, we mentioned it before. It's not an isolated incident, and
it's not. My only hope throughout all of this, now I've had a chance to decompress a little bit from our last time that we spoke about it. I don't for 1 minute think that Paul or CJ from AI 500 will be listening to this. There is a slim chance that somebody who knows them may be listening to this, and if this could be fed back to them, because I don't seem to want to take any conversation about it from anywhere else, you need to start handling, or they need to start handling this in a more professional manner. Just burying their head in the sand is not going to solve the problem. There are still people fighting tooth and nail to get refunds through PayPal, through their bank, and the responses they are getting are just, at best they're childish, at worst they're just fucking rude. And to the extent that I know somebody had a response from them the other day basically saying there were no health and safety issues, I'd love to see your health and safety qualifications and this, that and the other, and it's like, guys, all they need to do is hold their hands up publicly and say, the event did not go as planned, we're really sorry, we haven't handled this particularly well, we're going to run an event at Anzio because they can run an event at Anzio and they always play quite well. There doesn't ever seem to be any gripe with that. If they were to just say, look, we're going to give everybody who felt like they aggrieved, we'll do half price entry for them. That would be enough to just kick it in the backside.
Yeah.
Most people would. You would still get people that were like, no, I want my money back. But a lot of people might actually turn around and go, okay, we'll give them another chance. Because they've done several games at this site and there haven't really been any complaints about it, so we'll do it. They just don't seem to be handling it. They're just, we're right, you're wrong, blah, 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 blah. It's very childish. Very childish.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate. But yeah, like I say, suffice to say, our event was not the only one. And quite a few people have come forward, and I do kind of hope that our video and everything that we put out does serve as a bit of a warning.
Well, the thing is,
and sort of a shot across the bow, if you like, to sort
it's
of.
not
say,
even so
do
much
better.
that. Do you know what I think it is? Anybody who's not been before, a lot of people will look on YouTube and online for reviews of things before they buy them. A lot of people will look at reviews of things before they attend certain events. And I hope we've just helped to build an expectation of what you may encounter if you go to an AI 500 event. It might be different elsewhere. They might get a whole new team of marshals, which I believe they have, Headless Chicken Squad or something like that, which is great, brilliant. Get a regular team of marshals. Do not try and palm it off onto local marshals and then blame them for all your faults. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see how, if they hadn't had any uptake from local marshals, how that would have worked in the
Well,
first
what do you
place.
think would have happened if myself and the rest of the marshals, who were only supposed to be there as backup, what would have happened if we walked off on that first day and gone, absolutely not, see you later?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
You would have had a show of hands for who'd like to be a player marshal on the day, sort of thing.
And obviously, I've been made aware that there were certain player marshals and things like that. That was one of the other things. Was we were actually a player marshal. Really? How does anybody know you're a player marshal? Because you weren't wearing bands. Yeah, a few of them might have been, but I saw 4 people over 2 days wearing armbands, which meant they were a player marshal. That was it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we can't keep rumbling on about it. It's done now, and
it is. It's.
But I felt like I needed to. I didn't mean to aggrieve people with what I said. I just, and I felt like obviously it was pointed out to me that I was slightly incorrect in that respect, and I will I'll hold my hands up and say, okay, well, that certain person when he was marshalling was doing things properly. However, there were still people that weren't.
Yeah.
So it doesn't it really doesn't detract away from the point I was trying to make. So yes.
And perhaps on that slice of humble pie, that is a good place to call time, because we are nearly approaching the hour, which apparently, according to you, is the sweet spot.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to listen to us rumble on for too long, do you?
If we start getting negative, we start dragging it out. No, it's.
Well, the good thing is as well, if we're capping at an hour today. What time is it now? It's 7:45, which means I can go and vote. I've not done that yet.
Fabulous. Well, no, we wouldn't.
No,
I won't
let's
ask,
not get into that.
Let's not influence. No,
let's
it'd
not
be too
get
late
into that.
by the time I get to editing this. It'd be too late anyway. But yeah, here's to higher taxes and everything we can expect from whoever we vote for.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening.
Yes, and thank you to everyone who seemingly has transitioned over to the YouTube channel rather than listen to us on Podbean or your service of choice.
Do you know what I might do? Now people can see. I might just move some stuff around.
Move
and we
some
can do
stuff
is spot the difference.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
That'd be good. Yes. What's moved or...
There are 5 differences between last week's show and this week's show, not including anything on the bench. You can point them out.
Or we can hide something in shot.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Hide something in shot.
What is the hidden agenda?
Yes.
Oh, no.
What's the hidden message in today's...
Oh, that 3D printed suppressor I had there, did you see it?
I have seen it.
It's gone. I sold it to somebody. That would have been brilliant if I just popped it on the end of a gun.
Yeah. But we will hide something in each episode from here on in.
Yes.
And we'll see if you can spot it. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.